Welcome back, Mr. Goodberry. The First Star Logistics studio is fully equipped and ready to record.
Welcome back to Bengals on the Brain, presented by First Star Logistics. This is episode 69, and I'm your host, Joe Goodberry. If you're wondering who's the best number 69 to ever play for the Bengals, there hasn't been too many recently, but there is a guy that will eventually be on their ring of honor, and that is, of course, nose tackle, the great Tim Krumrie.
The most impact was nose tackle Tim Krumrie, number 69. Krumrie was the Bengals' leading tackler for the third year in a row, establishing himself as one of the premier nose tackles in the league, as well as one of the strongest, as attested by Bengals strength coach Kim Wood.
Very, very strong man. Brutally strong. Anybody else we have, I would say that once this man gets a hold of you, you're talking about hands like pit bull.
Real strong leader on the ball club. Tough as nails, raw boned. Got that country strength to him. He didn't get it in the weight room as much as he did out in the manual labors on the field.
Tim Krumrie's outstanding play in 1987 earned him All-Pro honors, as well as his first Pro Bowl.
That's right, Tim Krumrie, very nice player for the Bengals, number 69. And we do have Bengals news. In fact, we had it before the last episode Tuesday ended up airing. I recorded it before, and we expected it to happen, especially if you follow me on Twitter at Joe Goodberry. And if you are a subscriber on Twitter, then we knew this was coming down the pipeline, that the Bengals had pivoted from Mekhi Becton and turned to Trent Brown, the 30. I think he'll be 31 this year. The massive right tackle, left tackle. He's played both. He's played both very well, actually. But 6'8", 365 pounds. They have the largest set of offensive tackles in the league now, joining Orlando Brown Jr., who is already massive in his own right. But can you believe it that Trent Brown is just a little bit bigger? He's 6'8.5". Yeah, he's huge. And as you can expect, not the greatest athlete, never was, but always has been a very good pass protector. Honestly, he's always found a way to use his strength, his massive reach and length, his power, and just agile enough to redirect and get under guys, similar to a prospect we may talk about later today. But Trent Brown should slide right into that right tackle job. The issue there is he usually plays about 500 snaps a year. So you're still looking for somebody that'll probably play the other 50% of the 2024 season if we just use Trent Brown's history here. And we should prepare for the worst, or else you're going to end up in the worst situation without a plan to go to, which is why I still think the Bengals would take a right tackle in the first round of the 2024 draft to pair with Trent Brown. And you figure out a full season between those two. He's only signed to a 1-year deal. We don't have the numbers on that yet, but I expect it to be something with some clauses in it, and weight clauses, per game active bonuses, things like that, in order to reel him in and harness him in a little bit and get him, honestly, in the right direction, because he's probably the single best pass blocker they have had in the Joe Burrow era. And it gives them 4 quality starting offensive linemen. Let's see what Cordell Volson is in year 3. But if they do end up drafting a tackle or an offensive lineman at 18 in the first round, and that, let's say you put that guy, you slide him over to left guard for a year, the same way they did with Andrew Whitworth early in his career, you may have 5 good starting offensive linemen, or at least quality starting offensive linemen. They haven't had that in a long time, not even the 2015 seasons. And even going back to, I guess the most quality would be the 05 with Levi Jones, Eric Steinbach, Richie Bram, Bobby Williams, and Willie Anderson. So it'd probably go back 20 years since we've seen a line like that, if it turns out that way. I don't want to go too far, because I want to talk about 2 of the players that the Bengals have signed. They're probably their 2 biggest signings. I would argue Geno Stone is right there with Trent Brown and Sheldon Rankins, but we already did his film review. If you're looking for that, that was in the last episode. We're going to watch a couple videos of Rankins and Brown right now. So as you can see, I'm on Twitter here, and that's where we get a lot of our information these days, right? But it's a great place to share football takes and meet people like Brandon Thorne, who does, I'm pulling it up right here. Trench Warfare, and he's with the O-line masterminds and Established the Run, Bleacher Report. I've worked with him before, done a lot of things with him. He is one of my go-to guys when it comes to offensive line evaluation and just a great communicator and a good dude in general. But he posted, because he's the guy for this. He posted Trent Brown's 2023 highlights. So instead of me cutting it up myself, I figured, hey, let's watch these. Let's enjoy it from Twitter. And like I said, a lot of guys that aren't on Twitter that watch this show, which there are a lot of people. I've had people message me recently say, hey, I got on Twitter just because of Bengals on the Brain and because I see the things you do on there. And Brandon Thorne is a great follow if you are looking for somebody. So number 77 here on the left side, we're going to watch this. Now, these are highlights. Remember, I don't typically do highlights, but I think this is a good way to get a really strong feel for the upside of this player. And we'll talk about the lowlights. I mean, I think you'll even see some in this video because I have watched it before. So first thing you'll notice for Trent Brown is how quickly he gets out of his stance and moves for a big dude, for a guy that's 360 and maybe even more than that at times. You'll see the length and power. You see how they connect right there, right? They connect, and then he displaces. You heard Frank Pollock on the Dave Lapham show in the trenches talk about displacing players when he's talking about power linemen. When you can move him back, create this separation and long arm him like that, man, that is a strong and long dude. And you see it on display right there for Trent Brown. This is one of your better, like, what are we looking for in a guy that can move as a big dude? So he punches with the outside or the inside hand, his right hand to the outside shoulder. And the rusher's like, yeah, I'm going to kick inside. I'm going to spin inside. Now, he should have the advantage on Trent Brown. If Trent Brown's a big, fat dude that can't move, then get inside on him. But watch his feet. Watch Trent get back in there, reset his feet. You see how he got skinny and replaced his feet in a better posture, a better position? That's why he's been such a good pass protector for all these years. You see him here now. We're going to let it roll a little bit more as he's absorbing contact. I mean, power, right? As these guys are trying to get around, trying to blitz around the outside. Watch that. Watch those hands. Watch the length. These guys are folding around the arc, not able to run that arc and penetrate and get to the quarterback. Again, absorb the power, sit down, squat, right? And then pull the guy out of there, push him out of there. Get some separation and some distance. Control with your hands afterwards. These are all from one game. So, like, currently, I mean, we'll get to other games here, but this is first game here against the Eagles. He's clearly having high-end plays at a high rate here. I want to go back to this one because you see the punch. He's a two-hand puncher a lot of times, but then you see the independent hands. There's a two-hand punch. When we talk about two-handed punch, boom, or you'll see the one hand, and then that's independent hands, being able to use those freely. So he's absorbing the long arm there. Long arm's not going to work against him if his arms are longer than yours. So then he's going to show the one hand, punch with the other. More of a two-hand punch, but he uses those independently, especially as he gets the right hand back in to a strong position there. I mean, these pass rushers are completely falling dead on contact with Trent Brown. It's just over and over and over again. Let's enjoy it for a little bit. We get a run play here finally. So as I say, we're going to enjoy it. As he's going to, we've seen this how many times, right? We're going to down block here, climb up and get the linebacker here. His great strength here, as you're going to see it a few times, is he will displace this guy. I mean, he'll knock that guy so far inside. His weakness, though, is that sometimes he can't get up and get to this linebacker. He'll lumber. He doesn't change direction very well going forward, and you'll see that for sure. You see how much power he got on that defensive tackle? You'll see that a few more times. Good pass off there on the stunt, right? Between he and his left guard. Watch this. I mean, that was almost like teleporting that defensive tackle to Trent Brown. Look how fast he's out of a stance here on this next one coming up. If we can catch it. Look at that. That's not false start. That ball snapped. And man, just 94 dead on contact. Only a couple times where we've got some chip help All right, we got him out in space. Doesn't land his target. That's Carl Lawson there. Oh, I mean, Carl Lawson's going to lose that length battle a lot of times, but there's a one hand, independent hands there. Get some run blocking going on now. Yeah, get that D tackle out of there. 8 yards downfield. Let's go. Let's watch that one again. Yes. Give me one more time. And we're talking, we're going to have some lanes to run behind this guy. Gets a little chip help there. They like to run their routes really close to that guy, really close to their tackles, give them a little help. But Brown doesn't get a lot of help in general. I mean, nice power pancake here coming up right here on 95. Is that Quinnen? I mean, these guys are turning and begging for mercy at that point. Yeah, again. Let's get him out of there. Come down on 96. Send him out of the hole. Again, do you see these guys buckling, the defensive tackles? Like when you're watching this, the knees are buckling. He can't get his right foot down to anchor. Whew. Okay, so this time he doesn't have to go get the linebacker. He realizes it. Watch how Trent Brown says, okay, let me plant right here. He knows the run is coming this way, right? He knows the run's coming this way. He knows the linebacker is going to have to eventually scrape over the top. Maybe tries to go all the way around, but the linebacker with his vision right here, looking completely into the backfield, he doesn't really see Trent Brown coming, and it looks like he's going to try and undercut and get inside the hole there. Watch the strength. Watch the power of Trent Brown here when he makes contact with this linebacker. Man, almost broke his back again. Just absolutely collapsing the line. And that was 2 games so far. So now we have 2 games. You've got about 10 highlight blocks in each game. We were not getting that last year out of any player. I know these are highlights, but how often do you hit the highlight block? Trent Brown hits it fairly often. Mountain his stance super quick again. I want to see how close he is to a false start because he's had some years. The ball snapped. He's had some years with like 10, 11, 13 penalties. But they come in chunks and bunches. He has games where he'll have 3 or 4. See, this is a good one too. So this guy's gonna force him to open his hips up. It looks like he's vertical setting, but watch him how he opens his hips fast enough. Trent does. And he kind of has to avoid the running back a little bit here. So get your hands on him and ride him vertically rather than letting him. I mean, the rusher wants to collapse this, right? He wants to get it in this way. And Trent's pretty much walking him this way, which ideally, if you have that type of power and that size and you can control like that, that's what you do. All right, we got a nice pull and play here. Just blows up the 2 of the defenders, right? I'm not even sure he gets to his target. Oh, he may. They go for 2 guys there. He ends up getting him. Another good adjustment play where the guy tries to go back inside. A lot of times for big dudes, you're susceptible to hitting that outside foot and then the pass rusher coming back inside. So you see Trent here as he reaches, the D end is going to swim back inside, and watch how he does a good job redirecting. Again, there on another spin. These are bad spins, but still. I mean, there's nothing there. There is no movement. He gave up, I want to say, 20 pressures and 3 sacks total last year. All right, we got some run. So here's a good example of coming down on 91, displacing him, right? He's now out of the hole. You've created this big lane to run through. We've got a block on this side and we've got a block on this side. The running back is going to try to go right through it, right? So you know the linebacker is going to scrape over and want to meet him in this hole. So Trent Brown's got to find a way to climb up and get 241. Instead, he can't get off fast enough, can't get up there fast enough, and 41's able to get to the running back. I like how wide he gets on this set. You see how he gets out, and now he's out there, and it's forcing. You can already see how the pass rusher is leaning, right? You see that step's coming in here, and then his body weight is already shifting this way because he's reacting to Trent Brown coming out this way. So he wants to run the arc on him, and this without me knowing what's going to come here. Yeah, so he definitely tries to run the arc on Trent Brown there, and Brown just on contact. 51 folds for the Raiders. Watch the contact. Boom. I mean, that's like a grown man blocking kids. Again, Trent Brown there. Goes inside to run block on number 5, whoever that is. Completely blows him up, and there's the hole, right? So Trent Brown's got this right here. We bring the tight end across here, and we're going to hit this thing. Pew! There. These are the sounds it makes when you're run blocking. Going up to get number 5 again. This time he does land. I mean, this is Michael Orr in the blind side, right? He goes up to get 5 right there. 5 is begging for mercy. Please stop it, sir. He's going against Max Crosby there. Passing off the stunt. Trying not to look at the quarterback and the receivers here on the Patriots. Or some of the other O-linemen. Here we go. Little bit of a slingshot here as the guard is going to. So the guard wants to go up this time. The guard wants to knock this guy in, and then he's going to climb up and get this linebacker here. So you got to hold him up just long enough for Trent Brown to get around this D tackle and get in position. And now you got not the most fleet of foot guy. So watch how Trent Brown does here, though. Watch how smoothly he does transition. Pretty nice, right? Gets his grip on the top, swings his hips around, plants his feet. Now you've got a huge hole. For at least his job. I mean, yikes. So this is a loss for most guys. Right here. As soon as the guy beats you off the snap, beats you off your first set, right? This is very difficult to recover from. You've got one hand on his right shoulder. He's got the clear path to the quarterback. You would think. Brown latches on. You see now his left hand is up there too. So he's got the shoulder with both hands here, and he's going to ride this guy. And then look at the push, the shove. I mean, good God, he threw him maybe 2 or 3 yards right there. Nothing. Absolutely nothing for that guy. Climbing the second level. We're getting there. So this is supposed to be his weakness, right? And he's getting to an athletic linebacker, number 43 for the Bills. He's latching on. Yep, blowing up that defensive tackle. Again, these are all blocks. 5, 6, 7, up to 10 highlight blocks in one game. We got the Dolphins now. Dolphins had 2 good rushers there. Whew. I mean, this play should have been blown up completely. Look how far inside he has to go to start this. He's got to come all the way in and get this guy. It's pretty far. His split is pretty wide from the left guard. And the guy dips inside. So he doesn't get any help from his guard there because the end or the D tackle, whoever it is, dipped inside at the snap. So now Brown is out of position, and he needs to try and force this guy inside if he can. And boy, does he. Like, if everyone else would have kept going and following their blocks, you might get something out of it. Hey, they did get something out of it, but collapsed. Absolutely demolished. We don't have this many, and this isn't every game. We don't have this many highlight blocks from 2 or 3 guys last year. So we have to see if we can't get Trent Brown to play well. Yikes. Look at the power when he connects there on that, when he's pulling. If we can't get Trent Brown to play well into Frank Pollock, then we've got issues. He hasn't played right tackle since 2021, but he was good then too. He can do both. It's starting to look the same, right? Starting to run together. He's powerful. He's long. He's very balanced for a big dude. And there we go. We got one hand. Watch the one hand land here. Boom, right on the shoulder, right? And I mean, he's not stressed about it. Yeah, so I think that's a good representation of what Trent Brown offers, especially for his upside. Strength, power, length, surprising agility, good technique. He's a very, very good pass blocker. His run blocking grades, if you look at PFF last year, was a 54. You see the power in those highlights down there. It's the misses at the second level. It's sometimes when you're 6'8" and 8 foot 8.5, you lose leverage, right? If a guy gets underneath you, there's not much you can do. You can't regain and recontrol that block. You can maybe stop yourself from getting pushed into the backfield and not end up in a negative situation. But there are a lot of times there's nothing you can do about it because of your height. And you'll see that with Trent Brown. If you wonder why he's getting a 1 year deal, if he's still this good at 31 or 31 this year, it's has to do with his personality and some of the issues he's had. When he's left the Patriots, he was traded back from the Patriots, from the Raiders. I mean, shortly after he was not succeeding, after they couldn't get him on the field. So there's always concern when a guy leaves us an organization or a safety net and he doesn't look as good outside of it, or when you hear of weight issues or injury issues or fighting or just being a bit of a rogue kind of guy. And you know what, you got players with attitude, and sometimes that helps and sometimes it hurts, and it just is what it is. The Bengals are taking a calculated risk here. If he's good, they're fine. If he's not, I still think they're going to draft a tackle. So their two biggest needs probably remaining are still right tackle and nose tackle. Just if we want to say defensive tackle, because we don't know how that position is actually going to end up playing out. I want to transition that way, though, to defensive tackle. We haven't gotten to Sheldon Rankins yet. And that's where we're going to go on the next video. Someone I'm excited to watch as a pass rusher. We're talking one of the biggest needs the Bengals had, right? Even if they would have kept DJ Reader, we would have said they need to get better pass rushing inside. And I think that was a goal of theirs, and they may have achieved it. And we're back on Twitter to highlight one of my other favorite follows, especially when it comes to trench play and overall X's and O's. I think I learn a lot from Bengals Sans Mike Santagata. You'll see him writing for All Bengals, which is an SI website. He also has a podcast, Always Game Day in Cincinnati. Mike's a great follow, so make sure you, if you're on Twitter, to go over there. He put a package of Sheldon Rankins pass rush together, and we'll check that out and go over it because I think it's obviously this is going to be where he wins and where he made his money, and we're going to save that for after the video. Try to cut myself off before I talk too much. Let's roll it. If you don't know, Rankins is 98. I should probably go back and set that up before we go too far. 98. So the Bengals replace a 98 with a 98. And we're going to see, this is a video I did for subscribers, and maybe we should do it real quick. But a nose tackle would typically be in this range from here to here, anywhere in between. And your three techs are typically in this range from here to here. So we got Sheldon Rankins lined up all the way out here. He's going to go between the guard and the tackle. And that is a more of a three tech type defensive tackle, not like DJ Reader. While they may have replaced Reader's salary with Rankins, they play different positions. So we're going to see Rankins real fast go to the hezzy step and then power over our guy Kevin Zeitler, right? So he is, Rankins was a first round pick. He is in the Geno Atkins mold in terms of his frame. He had the athleticism. He's had some injuries in years past, but he still has a lot of it left, even though he'll be 30 years old this year. So when you get with that, you start with that hesitation, you're going to widen your blocker, and then that's when you go with the power right inside, and he gets Kevin Zeitler to fold on that. Can't bring down Lamar Jackson, but we've seen that for years. So we're not, how can we kill the guy when that happens to us as well? All right, Rankin's in the same spot. One of the things you'll see when you're watching this film is the spin move shows up probably every game, and it's efficient. No, we just watched Trent Brown and we saw a lot of inefficient spin moves. That's an efficient spin move right there, man. And now you're dead on in front of the quarterback. Play it one more time. As you're going from, as we're talking about where we're going to line up as our defensive tackle, we want to attack right here. So as this guy leans in this way to block, you're going to spin and end up between the guard and center rather than the guard and tackle. Very clean, very efficient, splits a sack there. Again, I mean, look at this, right? How clean is this? When he gets that foot, we've done the anatomy of a spin move when we were watching Chris Jenkins, I want to say, from the Chris Jenkins Jr. from Michigan. But when the weight is down on that foot right there for the offensive lineman, you know this foot has to come up because he wants to set it down over in the spot right here. So that foot's going to come up and then come down right there. So as his weight is going this way, that's your time to attack if you're Sheldon Rankins back inside. So you got to time it correctly while hopefully knocking down or disrupting this arm right here. If you can get that arm down and now it's down at his side, he's got nothing to grab you with as you go back inside. And boom. And as I'd like to really break this down because it's so clean and so good. Watch. Yes, there we go. That's the clip I wanted. Watch Rankin's arm here as he spins. So he knocks, we highlighted this left arm right from the guard. As he knocks it down, if you could see an x-ray behind him, it's down right here now. This guy's going to try now, use a different color so it makes sense. The lineman now is going to try and lift it back up. Green, that does definitely not work against the grass. He's going to try and lift it back up to catch you from going back inside. But what Rankins is going to do with this arm is key here. This arm, as he comes spinning around, he's going to spin it around and power it down onto this arm, onto the left arm of the lineman, so that he's got no recourse in getting a hand on him. And there it is. And you still see Rankins with his hand. So here's the arm we're talking about. It's coming down right here. I like to draw, guys. Do you like to draw? And it's actually got a grip on his arm right there to make sure that it can't grab him and stop him from going and impeding his path to the quarterback. Good throw under pressure. Against the Bengals now. Whoa, Cordell, or that's not Cordell Wilson, that's Alex Kappa. Yeah, Kappa had a rough time here. When you have a two-hand punch like this, and we talked about two-hand punches earlier with Trent Brown, a two-hand punch versus spin move, I mean, yikes, you don't have a hand there to help you. That spin move is so fast and efficient. You see that arm whip around, the one I was showing you about? There it is again on Kappa's back. Like, good luck trying to do anything off of that. That's an efficient, and hey now. This is going to be Mike Gesicki right here. Remember this play got picked off, right? A little bit behind Drew Sample. But yeah, that's going to be Gesicki catching that. And we've got power. Power by Sheldon Rankins. Same spot, so I'm not going to pause it too much. Hesitation step, go for the power. I mean, yikes, right? We thought Kappa lost bad. I mean, I don't want to see our guard doing this. That's for sure. Kappa's going to have some bad losses. Foreshadowing. Here we go. Here's the power. Not the same type of loss, right? We've got Rankins losing or winning on the third phase. Here's the setup: first phase, second phase. Hit the power. Kappa does a good job of withstanding that. Yeah, he's given up some depth to his quarterback. Not ideal, but if you anchor at this point, we're fine. But when you can string together pass rushes, and we talked about this when we did Miles Murphy film throughout the year, when you string together that power to now a finesse move to get him off of you, that push pull, man. You go power, push pull, and what a push pull is, I'm going to lean into you and act like I'm going to bull rush again. So your weight comes forward into me, and I may grab and pull you down. Use that against you. So a push pull, you'll see a swim off it or a rip off of it. And man, he's to the ground. There's nothing you can do there. Woo! We got a clean spin again. Except for this time his foot gets off balance. Man, I mean, that's as clean as you'll find for a defensive tackle spin move. Same side again. This is just, I'm a little late off the snap, right? Everyone else is already far into their first step. You see this here? We're still on the ground. Our foot's not even off the ground yet. All right, so I'm going to keep the width and keep the distance we have here. And let me see if I can just beat him as an athlete since I got one-on-one here. And it at least flashes in front of the quarterback just enough. All right, here's another one for, we're going to do a little something different here for Rankins. Right? So we're going to go outside, hit him with just a long arm, and then rip. Here is we did this with Johnny Newton, and we showed it with Murphy. Murphy was unable to do this. When you get to this spot here, and you've got a tackle and a guard trying to collapse you and give you no space, it's a very tight alley for you to get skinny and get through and still flatten to the quarterback. Not an easy finish to this play here, as you see, right? If we had the other angle on this, you see it. Jonah's the one that comes over and says, "Let me just get enough here to save Joe," and he does. But I mean, Jonah had to leave his guy because of the immediate threat of Sheldon Rankins. I mean, again, this is very similar to the Browns one now, where we've got distance and we're just going to try and be an athlete outside, come back in, force quarterback off his spot, and make a quicker throw than he'd like. Power, then rip. And he can't help that there. Power, then rip. If anything here, I don't know if 95 is supposed to go inside and Rankins is supposed to stay to the outside here, because you could do that. If that's the case, then yeah, I would like him to stay to the outside, but the way 95 reacts, I think that's more his fault. Nice clean win to the outside. Then you got to run the arc a lot like a defensive end when you go to the outside here. Knock that outside hand down, rip. Now you got to run this arc. Both these guys are losing over here. This guy's heads to the ground, Caleb McGarry. So now you got to run this arc and get to the quarterback. Not easy, because the offensive lineman is going to try and push you that way, right? He's going to try and run you around the arc. And if anything, he's falling and grabbing and doing his best. Can you go and can you knock the ball out? Oh, just missed. Or did he hit it? That ball came out weird. And here's the real bad sack, right? There's the one we remember against Kappa and Joe Burrow. Goes hesitation, goes power, and then we've got a second move off of it again. So he did get that ball, by the way. You saw that thing flutter. So goes to the power, and then here's where he's going to pull down. Here's the push-pull. So the power, and you see how the way he's bent down, you see his shoulder down, and his hands are still up. See if I can draw it so you can get a really good picture of it, because I know it's not easy to see all the time. But his hands are right there, and you see his other hand is up right here. And his head is down. His shoulders are like this. You see how his shoulders are like that? He's about to pull you down. He's about to pull Alex Kappa down after this power move. And there it is. Yanked him completely to the floor. And then leaves his feet to finish and close on the quarterback. Wham. That was an ugly hit. I hated that hit. I absolutely hated it. Oh, does to the face too. I'll run the arc again a little bit on the guard for the Jets. Knock that outside hand down, get free. Now you got to rip here. Don't let him get you. He's lined up this time a little bit ahead or a little bit over top of the center in the A gap. This is more of a nose tackle alignment. You can be as far as out here for a nose tackle. And I would consider that nose. He didn't have a lot of those snaps last year, but he did do it. Power. That. So he doesn't get, I don't know if he's going to get the pressure here. It's probably a pass rush win. What I like is right here. This lineman is going to displace him a bit, right? From not letting him just run right here. He's going to send him out here, and Rankins has to cut the corner. That area there, that apex of the arc of the corner you're running, of the change of direction, right there. You see how the turf is starting to fly up? It plants that foot, makes a nice cut. That's an athlete right there. That's what an athlete looks like. All right, we got a different alignment, different spot for Sheldon Rankins on this next play here, as he's to the right side. So, bam, to the right side. And you can call this the nose as well. It's far enough in. Back to the left, over 77. Woo! Yeah. Little hop, skip, and a jump there. I love it. I want to see this one again here as we go back. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's an athlete still. Still athletic. Again, goes for it. So you're trying to leap. You're aiming down the middle, And then you're going to leap away and try and swat that outside hand. With two hands, really? You see that there? Knock it down, regain your footing, and then try and cut that corner. That's hard. I mean, you see Aaron Donald do that. A cross chop. He's lined up inside again, inside the center in the guard and in the A gap. Collapse it between them, a little power. Oh, yeah. I mean, so, okay. So here's a situation where it's like, he said, hey, why don't you slide to me? I mean, you've got help here. And that is a conversation, I think. Would you rather Karras come and help Kappa, or would you rather Karras to keep his eyes on Volson? Like, let's be honest. We are paying Kappa to be one-on-one. The Bengals are paying Kappa to be one-on-one. You can't be mad about that. And Rankins finds his way through all three of them, basically. And has a death grip while Karras tries to hold on to it. Yeah, that's a little too much, right? Don't stop hitting my quarterback. Going against the tackle here. Collapses. I mean, when you can power a tackle, you're going to have the leverage usually because those guys are taller. And you see him switch to it as he gets underneath and just tries to power through and collapse it. Is that the nose again? So if he wants to be our nose in nickel, looks like he's done it more than enough. He's going to try and go outside here on the guard and then spin back. Stay in front. That's good. Lane contain. I want to get back to that one. We're not done, Twitter. This is good. Lane contain. There's a better word for that. It's eluding me right now. Pass rush discipline. Lane discipline. That's what I'm looking for. My ankle cracked. Lane discipline is he knows by going to the outside, quarterback's going to step up inside, and he swims back in there on John Simpson. Stays with it. That's a really good cut up, Mike, of Sheldon Rankins. So those are the two big signings in terms of size. Although I'd put Geno Stone and Von Bell, honestly, is a good signing. Gesicki, we're talking about another size guy. We haven't even got to him yet. We will get to Mike Gesicki. The last one was Zach Moss. I think I might have said it was Geno Stone. We've done Geno Stone. We've done Zach Moss. And now reviewed some of the tape of Sheldon Rankins and Trent Brown. I plan on getting to Gesicki as well. I don't know if we've got to do Von Bell. He looked like he was the same guy we thought he was. He was just playing a lot of free safety for Carolina. So maybe why his numbers dropped a little bit. But we'll have to talk about the safety room as a whole. We have 5 weeks until the NFL draft. Actually, 5 weeks from now would be day 2 of the NFL draft. So, yeah, it used to be Saturday, Sunday for young people out there. Now it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. But 5 weeks. What are the 5 biggest needs or 5 biggest positions the Bengals need to draft? We'll figure that out. If you want to comment on it, feel free. If you're still watching. This has been Bengals on the Brain, presented by First Star Logistics, and I'm your host, Joe Goodberry. Until then, Uday.
Dave Lapham here, and every day I am grateful for my experience to have played professional football. As a player, I realized self-motivation, leadership, and appreciating your teammates are key. At First Star Logistics, you can use those same attributes to create the life you want for you and your family. Build your future by working hard like I did. You'll see results both on and off the field. Call First Star Logistics today and be part of our winning team.
Opportunity knocking.